And we're good to go. All right, so guys, today we're talking about multiplication with two-digit numbers. It is pretty much the same as what we have done before, but just taking one little tiny step forward. Sometimes we're going to see stuff with decimals. Sometimes we're going to see stuff with multiplication, or excuse me, with dollar signs, as if we're doing dollars, dimes, cents. Okay? I'm going to walk you through a couple of these first, then we're going to try some together, and then I'm going to show you a different way to either do the problem or at least think about the problem so that you understand it from a couple different angles. Okay? So the first step that we're going to do, if I take 32 times 12, I'm just going to pretend that that one's not there. Okay? The first step of this is just the multiplication that we've done before. We're going to say I got two groups of 2. 2 twos is 4. And I've got two groups of 30. Two 30s is 60, right? So we'll go with 6, 2 times 3, but it's in the tens place, which is 60. Yeah.
Can I get in the Google Classroom? None of my apps work.
You can't do what?
I can't get in the Google Classroom because none of my apps are working. Like iExcel doesn't work in Google.
Close down your Chromebook altogether. Start it up again. We'll see if the problem is still there. Okay, so that's step number 1. But step number 1, we were pretending that 1 isn't there, but that 1 actually is there, right? So now what you might think to do is I'm going to take 1 times 2. That's kind of true. But is it 1 times 2? What does that 1 really represent? Huh? Yeah, 10. So it's not really 1 times 2, it's 10 times 2. 1 times 2 is 2, 10 times 2 is 20. So really I am going to be taking 1 times 2, but I'm going to shift it all over this way. I'm going to put a 0 here because everything I do is really being multiplied by 10. Okay, so that's the main step, or the main part of this second step. So now I go 1 times 2 is 2. In other words, 10 times 2 is 20. And now I can do 1 times 3 is 3. But really it's 10 times 30, which is 300. That's why it's in the 300 spot. And now I just add all this stuff up together. Total of 4, total of 8 tens, total of 300s, 384. Make sense? Okay. Let me just walk through those steps, how we got what we got. We started by taking this one and saying 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6. When we moved to our second step, we had to first start by putting a placeholder there, a 0. And now I do 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 3 is 3, and now I add it all up. Still not working, Brandon?
It started off just iExcel, not and now it's like iExcel.
See if you stand. Yes. No, I can't if you stand. Okay, see, you can't see you right there. No. No. I can't see you blocking me.
Hold on just a second, let me get going on one more and I'll come back to it. Okay, let's try this next one. Write this down on a piece of paper. We're going to do this together, and then hopefully by the third one you can try it on your own. Okay? 62 cents times 23. And again, you always want to think about what's a good estimate. Well, 62 cents is less than $1 whole. If it was $1 whole times 23, it would be $23, but it's not going to be that high, is it? It's less than $1. In fact, I would say it's just a little bit more than half of that. So a little bit more than half of $23. I don't know, $14, $15, somewhere in there is where we should end up. Okay, so have a good estimate in your mind first. All right, so let's start with the first step. And again, I'll do this one in red. I'm going to take 3 times 2, which is 6. I'm going to take 3 times 6, which is, what? 18. With that one, since it's a 2-digit number, we put the 1 up here and the 8 down here. And then I'm going to take the 3 times the 0, which is 0, but I have to add this 1. So I get 186. Now, you notice I didn't worry about the decimal at all yet. And I would suggest that you do the same thing. Don't even worry about where the decimal's going just yet. Okay, let's go on to the second step. The second step is going over a digit and multiplying by 2. What did we say we had to do before we start multiplying? Claire? Put a 0 down here, right? Because it's really not just multiplied by 2, but by 20. Okay, so 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 6 is 12, so our 1 goes up there, our 2 goes down here. 2 times 0 is 0, plus we add in the 1 here. Okay, so when I multiply by 3, I get 186. When I multiply by the 20, I get 1,240. So now let's add those all up. 6, 12, 4, 1. Is my answer 1,426? No, we said our estimate should be somewhere around maybe 13, 14, 15. That helps me figure out where my decimal places should go. Okay, so one thing that I can do is say, well, there's 2 digits behind a decimal here, which means in my answer, I should have 2 digits behind a decimal. The other thing is my estimate. 14.26 is the only one that really makes sense, that comes close to that 13 or 14 or 15, somewhere in there. We were talking about dollars, right? Looks like that. Think we're ready for the last one? Give it a shot. Try it on your own, and then I'll come back and we'll do it together as well. Tell me you already tried restart that. If you guys are done, take or stand up so I know. Okay, let's start working through this, because if you're not done, that means you're maybe stuck a little bit. So our first step is just take the digit in the ones. I'm going to take 4 times 8, which is 32. I'm going to then take 4 times 4, which is 16, but I need to add the 3 in. So altogether, 16 plus 3 is 19. I got 192 there in my first step. Raise your hand if you got 192 there. Okay, so first step, we're doing all right. Second step, maybe we're seeing a little bit of problems, or maybe you just weren't there yet. Okay, so I'm going to take my 6 here, but remember, before I do anything, I should have a placeholder there, a 0, to show I'm really multiplying by 60, not just 6. Once I've got that, 6 times 8 is 48. 6 times 4 is 24, but then I have to add 4 more, which is a total of 28. Raise your hand if you got 2,880 in that second part. Okay, not too many hands. So if you didn't, why not? Do we just multiply some of those, like a 6 times an 8 incorrect? Do we multiply 6 by 4? Okay. Raise your hand if you know what you did so that you can correct it next time. Raise your hand if you're not sure what happened there. Okay, so if we made a mistake, at least we learned from it. That's good. All right, so now we add those 2 things up. We got a 2 there. 17, 10, 3. All together, 48 times 64 is 3,072. Cool? Try 3 more. Try 2 more. Pick 2 of those. I don't care which one. Some of you might want to avoid the $sign one. That's okay. Same thing, if you're watching this on a video, take a little time to do 2 out of those 3. And if you get stuck, just let me know. Yes, ma'am? 7 and the 6 times 8. Why I like 2 when I get there, I start trying to erase that 2. Because that 2 has no, you're not doing anything with the 2 anymore, now that you're multiplying by the 6. Yes, ma'am. Good, everything looks good so far. So now you're doing the same thing except for with this 2. 2 times 6 is 12. You're actually gonna get the same numbers except for you're gonna have that 0 at the end, aren't you? So a lot of you starting on this first one, I'm gonna do this on the board and then you can check. Start with my 2. 2 times 6 is 12. That's a 2. 2 times 4 is 8, plus I've got to add in the 1 there is 9. And 2 times 2 is 4. And now in my next step, I'm looking at this 2. But it's really a 20, so I need my place holder there. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 4 is 8, plus I add in that one is a 9. 2 times 2 is 4. So now when I add all of this stuff up, 2, 11, 14, 5, should have 5,412. If you did that first one, do we get 5,412? Any questions on it? Okay, you want to try, how many of you did the middle one with a $1.47? Skipped it? Oh, did it scare you? It scared you with the decimal, didn't it? That's okay. How many of you are done with 87 times 63? How many of you need more time? I'll give you a little bit more time and then we'll work through that one too. If you are done, try the middle one. Oh man, it's going to be so difficult.
He fixed it.
What did you do? What did you do?
I don't know, he didn't look like his computer and he made me restart everything at once. And it didn't work, but it added YouTube, so he said he doesn't know why I said it, he just fixed it later.
Okay. I'll have to ask him what he did. I know where he went to fix it. I don't know what he did to fix it. 30 more seconds. All right, let's try 87 times 63. If you did this one or if you're just finishing it up. I'm going to start with my 3. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 8 is 24. Plus 2 more is 26. Okay, so that's step 1, and now I'm going to multiply by my tens. I've got 6 in the tens spot, which is really 60, so I put my 0 down there as a placeholder. 6 times 7 is 42. 6 times 8. What's 6 times 8? 48. Plus we add in 4, which is 52. And now we add 1, 8, 4, 5. How do we do on that? Good? Not so good? You didn't get it. See what you did wrong so that you don't make that same mistake next time. How many of you finished the $1.47 times 34? All right, I'll walk through that one really quick. 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 4 is 16. Plus 2 is 18. 4 times 1 plus 1 is that. Now I'm going to do the same thing with 3. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 4 is 12. Plus 2 is 14. Whoops. Can't do that right there. I forgot my place value. 21, 14. 3 times 1 is 3. Plus 1 more is 4. So we've got 8, 9, 9, 4. Should be $49.98. No?
No.
What happened?
Oh no. I got 12,390.
Take a look, see what happened, so you can learn from it.
Is it better?
Yeah.
I think I did multiplication wrong.
Or just some of it, like I multiplied 3 times 7 wrong or something like that. That's part of it, guys. We got to know our basic math facts. So if you think you're struggling with, like when I asked you, what's 4 times 8? If you didn't get that real quickly, we may need to go back and practice some more math facts, which there's plenty of different, let me know if you think you need help with that, okay? I'm kind of assuming by this point, we just know those real well. All right, now, here's the different way to think about this type of multiplication. Okay, I'm gonna start with a problem of 25 times 12. Okay, 25 times 12 means I've got 25 12 times, right? I put that up on the board over here. See if we can get that. I've got 25 12 times. 25 plus 25 plus 25, all the way down here, right? That's what that means. We could think about this in terms of distributing and saying 12 times 25 is the same as 25 times 12, except we're going to split 12 into 10 and 2. The reason we can do that is because really we have that, and I'm showing it to you here. I've got 12, or actually, that's a different way to split it, sorry. It's like saying I've got these 10 groups of 25, and then I've got these 2 extra groups of 25. Does that make sense? Isn't that a total of 12 groups still? But now I'm just splitting up and saying I'm going to group these 10 together and group these 2 together. Why might I want to do that? Why would I group things in groups of 10? Oh, why in groups of 10? Yeah.
So it would be easier to add.
Yeah, why is it easier to add a group of 10? What do I do when I put multiply by 10?
Add 10.
I'm not adding 10. What's 6 times 10?
60.
What's 7 times 10?
70.
What's 32 times 10?
320.
What did you do every single time? You just add a 0 on the end, right? So sometimes it's helpful for us to do it that way. Instead of going, we could go through the multiplication algorithm. That's what we just learned. Where we go 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. Now I put my place value, 1 times 5, 1 times 2, and now I can add it all up and I get 300. And that's all nice, but if you get in the habit of thinking of it this way, you might be able to do it a lot quicker, okay? So we know 25 times 300, right? I just got that doing it the algorithm way. But if you think about it in your head as 25 times 10, what's 25 times 10 very quickly? You already know that. What is it?
25 times 10.
Yeah.
100.
Times 10, anything that you do is you take it, what'd you say? Add a 0, right? So 25 times 10 is 250. And then you've got another pretty basic problem. I've got 2 groups of 25, which is 50. And so once you get good at this, you can start doing those things in your head. Well, I know what 250 is. I know what 50 is. Altogether, that's 300. And you might be able to get to that answer a little bit more quickly without having to write out a bunch of stuff. Sometimes it's going to be better to do it the way that we just did it before. Okay? Sometimes if you can get to this point, it's going to help you compute things a lot more quickly. Here's one more kind of like that. Okay? So this is 12 times 23. And so really what we're doing is we're saying, well, I'm going to take 20 groups of 12, and I'm going to take my 3 groups of 12. I'm going to split them up differently. Okay, so if I did that, if I did 12 times 20, and I did 12 times 3, both of those become fairly easy, right? 12 times 20 was really 2 times 12, 24, plus add that 0, so that's 240. How many of you knew how to do that? Okay, so going from 12 to 20, that was not a step we know real well yet. All right, so we might have to go back and review some of that and practice with that before this makes sense. 12 times 3 is 36, and so now you can put those together, and that'll be a total of 276. Okay, if we're stuck with that, I'm not going to go on because I think some of the other ones might be a little bit too challenging for you then. And that's okay. Going back up to this kind of stuff using the multiplication algorithm, that's fine for now. Okay, we'll kind of work on that shortcut a little bit later. Make sense? All right, so some practice for today. We're in the right one. We are in the right one. We're skipping around a little bit in your lesson. I'm going to have you guys do number 8 through 16, and then also the last 6 problems, 25 through 30. Okay, so you've got a little bit of time to work on that right now. Go for it.